Detective Jack Malone's heart pounded like a drum as he stood before the looming gates of Coldridge Penitentiary. Memories of his time behind those walls flooded back, memories of fear and despair. But it wasn't the memories that sent shivers down his spine. It was the knowledge that something sinister awaited him inside. Years ago, Jack had been a prisoner here, wrongly accused of a crime he didn't commit. It was during his time in this hellish place that he encountered the entity that would haunt him for the rest of his days. An evil presence, lurking in the shadows, whispering promises of power and vengeance. Jack had thought he'd escaped the demon's clutches when he was finally released from Coldridge. But the nightmares persisted. The feeling of being watched never faded. And now, drawn back to the place where it all began, he knew he couldn't run from his past any longer. As Jack stepped through the gates, a chill wind swept through the courtyard, carrying with it the stench of decay. The once imposing walls now seemed to leer down at him, mocking his feeble attempts at escape. With each step, Jack felt the weight of the demon's influence pressing down on him, suffocating him with memories of pain and suffering. But he pushed on, driven by a determination to confront the evil that had plagued him for so long. Inside the prison, the darkness seemed to swallow him whole, suffusing every corner with a palpable sense of dread. Jack's footsteps echoed eerily through the empty halls as he made his way deeper into the bowels of the building. Then he saw it. A flicker of movement in the shadows, a whisper of a voice that sent shivers down his spine. The demon had returned, more powerful than ever, ready to claim Jack's soul for its own. But Jack refused to cower in fear. Drawing on every ounce of strength he had left, he faced off against the creature that had tormented him for so long. The battle that ensued was like something out of a nightmare, a whirlwind of darkness and despair that threatened to consume them both. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Jack saw a glimmer of light in the darkness. A memory, buried deep within his subconscious, of a time when he had been strong, when he had fought against injustice with every fiber of his being. With a newfound sense of resolve, Jack unleashed a torrent of fury upon the demon, driving it back into the shadows from whence it came. And as the creature vanished into the darkness, Jack felt a sense of peace wash over him, a feeling of redemption that he had thought was lost forever. But as he made his way out of the prison, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The demon may have been defeated for now, but its malevolent presence still lingered, waiting to strike again when he least expected it. And so, as Jack stepped back out into the cold night air, he knew that his battle was far from over. But armed with the knowledge that he had faced his demons head-on and emerged victorious, he was ready to face whatever horrors the future may hold. As the gates of Coldridge Penitentiary closed behind him, Jack couldn't help but wonder what other secrets lay hidden within its walls, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to face the darkness within. As Jack walked away from Coldridge Penitentiary, a sense of unease settled over him like a shroud. Despite his victory over the demon, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was still lurking in the shadows, something waiting to pounce when he least expected it. Night had fallen by the time Jack reached his car, the darkness seeming to press in on him from all sides. He fumbled with his keys, his hands shaking with a mixture of fear and exhaustion. But as he finally climbed behind the wheel and started the engine, a sense of relief washed over him. He was free, at least for now. But as Jack drove away from the prison, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every shadow seemed to hide a pair of eyes. Every whisper of the wind sounded like a sinister laugh. It was as if the demon's influence still lingered, a reminder that the battle was far from over. As Jack reached the outskirts of town, he couldn't help but glance back at the imposing silhouette of Coldridge Penitentiary looming in the distance. It was a sight he hoped never to see again, a reminder of the horrors that lurked just beneath the surface of reality. But even as he tried to put the events of the night behind him, Jack knew that he couldn't escape his past so easily. The demon may have been driven back for now, but it was only a matter of time before it returned, stronger and more determined than ever. And so, as Jack drove into the night, he vowed to remain vigilant, to never let his guard down again. For he knew that the shadows held secrets darker than he could ever imagine, secrets that would stop at nothing to drag him back into the abyss. But as for what happened next, only time would tell. And as the darkness closed in around him, Jack couldn't help but wonder what other horrors awaited him in the depths of the night.